the COVID crisis has definitely hit inner city areas worse than typical, and everybody in the UK has been impacted by it. But inner cities definitely are being more affected for lots of reasons that people may well already know about, to do with the gig economy and people on low levels of security in their income, all those sorts of things. The hit that there have been on so many people's finances. People are more vulnerable in our area to those impacts, and so there has been a noticeable rise in the level of need that we're aware of, and so aware that this was going to happen as soon as the lockdown kicked in a year ago. We just felt that it was right for us to say we're going to open a food bank. We didn't know how. We just thought it was the right thing to do. It's the only thing we could do for our community. Everything else was on hold. But at least we could make the building a space where people could come to get practical help with their food. One of the things that was noticeable was that initially, the first 3 months of lockdown, there were people coming who were genuinely shocked to find themselves at such a level of poverty that they needed help having enough food to eat. So they may have come into the country just before the lockdown was announced. So they came in thinking they had a job, and once they arrived, suddenly the job wasn't there. They put a deposit down for their rental on a flat, and they had no income. And that was just an awful kind of position for them to be in. And they'd never have imagined that they were going to be in need of help with food. But we were able to just hopefully encourage them and be a human presence and sort of be there for them at that time.
It's quite interesting to see that they are coming back regularly just to have the social contact as well, because some of them are alone and they cannot travel to meet their families, and they are not meeting many other people.
When coronavirus first came last year, we were quite fortunate because the community did all come together and started to help out, especially for the elderly and the people that had to self-isolate through the government. So it was a case of just finding out who needs help and what we can do for them.
We've seen a range of people that need support at this time. Well, there's people on universal credit and it's not enough, or a change in their benefits means that they have less money than they used to have. People becoming unemployed, furlough finishing, all sorts of different things are impacting our community. And so the need seems to be growing, and it feels as if over the next 6 months it's going to grow more, and towards the end of the year we're expecting the need to really go up when furlough comes to an end and everybody's predicting redundancies, unfortunately. One of the things I love about LCM is the fact that they know when they come into a community, they know that you've got to understand it. So there's this mapping exercise that a missionary will do when they come into a community, and they'll find out what are the demographics, what's the history of the place, what's the spiritual history of an area, and that work is done so that you know where to go in your mission planning.
It's a close community around here, so everybody does tend to help everyone out. You know, if anyone says, we need some help, there'll always be someone there to help. And especially with the older generation, because of the fact that they're not allowed to go out and they can't actually see people, it's good for their morale as well, just to have that 5-minute chat on the doorstep with them to see how they are, if there's anything else they need, or if there's anything else that we can do for them.
Our estate and the streets just around it, this is people's world. I live just outside the estate, but when I say to some guys around here where I live, I live 7 or 8 minutes walk, and I'll chat to people and they'll be like, oh no, I don't think I've ever been around there. And it's like, okay, yeah, people, for a large city, people are very local. So the first thing that we need to do as churches is understand our community. When we looked at our community, we saw that there's a huge number of young families around us on our estate and on the Isle of Dogs. There's thousands of young families, And a number of them have got quite a few challenges. There's high levels of poverty. Tower Hamlets has got the highest levels of child deprivation in the UK. So yeah, around us we've got a lot of wealth, and you can see the office blocks behind me, but right around us is a lot of deprivation.
I've got one gentleman that his benefit got stopped last week, and he phoned me. He's an older gentleman. He was on some benefit, and they took him off that to put him onto a pension credit, and there was a mix-up with letters, so his benefit got stopped completely. So I've actually accessed another food bank for him to get him fresh stuff, so that he can get through the week, and they have really been helping with him, which has been really nice. So that where he's at 67 now, and he's self-isolating from the government, he was panicking because of the fact that not having cash now to buy his food, but we did all sort of rally round and make sure he had everything that he needed.
The challenge for churches will be to be able to dream dreams again, be creative, and not feel exhausted by the year and a half that we'll have been through. So if we can be honest with ourselves about how costly it's been, if we can look after each other within the church family and not just try and head down and push on, but if we can actually say, well, this is how we're feeling, this is what God has taught us about ourselves and about Him, about where we've been putting our trust, that it's not Him, and COVID has exposed it, then we'll be in a much more vulnerable place. But that will mean that we're able to really see the needs around us as well.
I think it's a physical need as well, but also, especially here around Canary Wharf, I think it's that people need something more like to fill inside, and they are looking for it.